everybody, welcome back to Let's Talk PMA. We're back with a very special episode today, something that's a little bit of a touchy topic, I feel like can be, bullying within sports. It's sad that we have to even talk about this because, in sports, we all should be on the same page, you would think, but sports does have bullying in it all of the time. So we want to talk about some of the signs, some of the things that you might notice with your kids or with coaches, if your coach might be a bully or if other teammates or players are bullies, and how you can handle it as a player or a parent. So, Mom, what are some kinds of signs that you might recognize if your kid was dealing with bullies on their team?
I think some of the signs would be if they're withdrawing, if they're not wanting to go to practice, if they're getting anxious, or you start seeing some disorder or dysfunctions as far as eating or sleeping, or they become a little more emotional. All those things are good signs that something is going on with your kid that's possibly outside the house. And especially if it's geared towards going to practices or going to games.
Yes, I feel like those can be some really prominent signs that you can see within your kid. But you can't just let it go by without addressing it. You should always make sure that you're checking in with your kid, seeing if you can get them to maybe open up a little bit. Sometimes they won't because they might think that it could make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
But you should always check in and at least try to support them and see what you can do to see if it is a bully, if it's their coach, if it's their teammates, if it's just at school or something like that. Check in with your kid and just see if you might be able to get the smallest of details out of them even. So then you can give them the tools to be able to stop the bullying or at least to stick up for themselves.
Well, and make sure that you're listening to your kid. Make sure that you're not telling them that you're going to fix it for them, because they have to feel empowered where they're not feeling empowered right now. So listening to them, getting their ideas. What do you think we could do about this? What are your thoughts? Do you want me to help you? If they don't, because they think it's going to cause a bigger problem, then help them problem solve for whatever is happening. Teach them how to stand up for themselves. Teach them that that they can get involved in what's going on, that they don't have to be treated like this, and reaching out to their coach, having them go to their coach and tell the coach if it's a kid on the team, have them go to the coach and address it and watch and keep in communication with them. Hopefully that they will open up to you enough that that they'll talk to you in a way that opens up the situation for both of you. If they don't, which a lot of times I know with you kids, that you guys didn't want to address it, and finally it went to such a head that you had to tell us what was going on. But I remember lots of times, even with you, Allie, you would say, this is happening, and I'd want to jump in. I'd want to save the day. I'd want to say, let me go talk to your coach. Let me go talk to the parents, whatever. And I remember so distinctly you saying, don't. It will cause more problems if you do. So we helped you to build tools that you could do this on your own. And it wasn't easy. It took a long time. And I think we could have probably stepped in more than we did, because it went on longer than it should have. But your kids have to be able to trust you. And if you're listening to your kids and letting them solve their problems and giving them the sounding board so that they can, and talking it out, then you're giving your kids more security with themselves, knowing that if I can't do this on my own, I do have my parents to back me up.
Yeah, I dealt with a lot of bullying between coaches and teammates, especially in college. Not as much throughout high school, but in college, I definitely dealt with a lot more of that like bullying type. Um, but something we were actually talking about the other day is kind of like the haters. So as we have been putting ourselves out there with the podcast and on social media and everything, obviously we're here, we're doing what we are dreaming to do, and we're putting ourselves out there. We're doing something that not everybody does, and there's always going to be someone who's going to hate on you. Like haters going to hate. They're always going to hate. Um, but I feel like haters hate because they're jealous or because you're doing something that they know they could never do. And so when it comes to bullying, you kind of have to think about it in a different way of they're they're jealous that of what I have been able to give, or um they are threatened by the skills that I have. You know, that if I truly am able to put myself out there and truly be able to go 110%, that maybe their spot's going to get taken. Um, and so I think when it comes to bullies, sometimes you have to stop and think, why are they doing it? And understand that there's something that you have that they don't, and that's why people do it. People don't do it just to be a bully most time there's something that either they're going through or they're threatened by you or something of that sort.
And you hit on it right on the nose. They're usually going through something in their own mind that they're struggling with, and they see you have it and they don't, and so they want it, right? And so it's a hard thing to, if you understand it, you want to say, what are you going through? you can't you can't really say that, right? And so to teach our kids that it's not you that's the problem, it's really what they're going through is the problem. And a lot of times, I know when I was in school, I was a bully, crazy enough, for a little bit, because I was so unhappy in my own life. And I felt like I had to prove myself to the friends that I had. So I picked on kids that were younger than me. And it really wasn't, for me at that point, it wasn't because they had anything that I didn't. It was because I had to prove myself. And I don't know as much in sports if that is so much a truth, but at the same time, if you have something that I want and I don't have it, or I'm not self-confident enough to have it, then I'm going to take away your worth so that I feel better.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's taking your crown and putting it on my head.
Right.
I know, like when I was in college, when I had bullies, which I did, I kind of learned to just not really care. Yeah, it hurt, and for the first while, it was hard. It was really, really challenging. And I know it's easier said than done to just not care, but truly, if you feed into it, they're just gonna they're gonna nail you even harder. So if you act, or like even if it's just there, like even if while you're in their presence, you act like you don't care, they can't do anything. They can't hurt you then. Yeah, you can go home and you can cry and you can go through the emotions of it and you can be upset, but don't let them have that power. Um, Bullies are going to be throughout your life, and they might come and make you feel like you're awesome and then like backstab you and just switch, and like that happens all the time. But keep your own power and understand your own worth, and use your mental toughness that you're learning through our podcast, through our workbook, and understand your own thoughts in your own mind, and just say they don't have the mental toughness that I have. they can't get through whatever they're going through. So they're choosing to pick on me.
Yeah. And that's not always easy. It's easier said than done to be able to say, hey, you do you, quit picking on me. So we really have to give our kids the tools that we share in the workbook and in person and through our videos and podcasts, but we also want to be able to give our kids the tools of recognizing what is bullying. Even with coaches, coaches can be bullies too sometimes, unfortunately. And so we need to make sure that we teach our kids what that is. Coaches, it sometimes can be hard because coaches can be tough, right? They can work you hard, they can get on your case, they can, intimidate you. But a good coach isn't going to verbally abuse you in front of everybody. A good coach is not going to intimidate you in front of everybody. They're not going to verbally, put doubt in you that you're not good enough. And a good coach is not going to undermine your success or trash talk you or talk about you with others. Because they know, a good coach knows what to say and to empower their athletes and to encourage them and to work them hard, but in a positive way. Right.
Yeah.
So if you were to go and coach your team right now, and you had girls that could work harder, what would you do to pump them up? How would you talk to them?
When I deal with this all the time when I know my kid isn't, achieving their potential, at least even just for that day, that practice. I don't necessarily just straight up go for the yelling, because sometimes if you just go and yell at them, that's just going to result in a breakdown. Especially with girls. A lot of them, the age group that I coach, the emotions are high, and so you can't always just go and yell at them. And it's more just like the encouragement to get out of their head is what I really go with. And I'm like, you know what you can do, you know your skills, you know how good you actually are. So go out there and show me how good you are. Because I don't want you to be sitting on the bench. I don't want you to not be achieving your potential. I want you to go out there and go 110% and play like I know you can play. And a lot of the girls that I coach, they get too robotic. And that's kind of a thing with basketball specifically. Learning to have a high IQ within basketball, understand how it works, how to make different plays, how to be smart and everything like that, and not be robots. And a lot of the girls that I work with, they really struggle with that. And so all of the time, I'm like, you know what to do, you know how to take the right steps to make a move or whatever it is. Stop thinking. Just stop thinking. Relax. And a lot of the time, that's really what helps. And that's how I empower them, is by telling them, I know what you can do and you know what you can do. Show me.
Right.
And most of the time from there, they figure it out, or they don't. And if they don't, then I'm like, okay, well, next time I see you for practice or for the game, I want you to really show me what you got. And everybody has bad days. I don't expect everybody to show up 110% all the time. The effort, yes, I expect 110%. But sometimes the mindset's not always there. But that's how growing your mental toughness works. Like it doesn't happen overnight. It's a continuous progress throughout your life. And you're going to encounter things that are going to backtrack you a little bit. And then you're going to have to work even harder to get back to where you were and to keep pushing. So just understanding those thoughts and knowing your own worth is the biggest thing ever.
And that's for, when we talk to the parents and we start teaching, through the workbook and teaching the kids, especially at a young age, that their self-worth will carry them so much further than just the everyday dealing with the thoughts that come up, dealing with the people that are going to try to get in your head. And the people that are trying to get in your head, once you have it down and that you're have that self-worth, that you know that you're worthy, once you have that, all of a sudden all those bullies don't seem to exist. They just don't, because you've all of a sudden have what you need in your mind, because you know who you are and you're good with it, that the bullies don't get through. But sometimes they do, right? And so we as parents, if we can teach our kids the signs of someone that is bullying, if we can make sure we know if it's emotional abuse or if it's physical abuse or whatever it is that that bully is doing, that we give them enough self-confidence to be able to come forward with that. And I think that's our biggest point today, is to get the kids confident enough to understand what a bully is and confident enough to address it to either an adult or a higher figure or a parent or whoever it is that is going to be on their side to get over and to address the issue.
Yeah, I completely agree. I want to backtrack just a little bit and go back to coaches. Coaches can be bullies, 1,000%. I have experienced multiple coaches as bullies throughout my time within sports. And I think coaches and addressing coaches as bullies is probably one of the most challenging experiences to go through, because if you say something and let's say nothing comes of it, right? Let's say you go talk to their boss or a different coach or something like that. Not always is something going to come of it. And maybe they just find out and then it makes it worse for you.
Mhm.
And so I really want to kind of dive into how to go about dealing with coaches as bullies. So if you're a parent and you're trying to maybe make your kid's life a little bit easier because their coach may be a bully, first thing that you can do is to find out if your kid's being singled out or if your coach is just a bully to the entire team. Maybe talk with a couple of the other parents and see if some of the actions and words that the coach has been using towards your kid has been used towards others. That's one way that you can kind of get more information about how the coach is acting and to see if they are singling out your child specifically. I think singling out is worse than just being a bully to the whole team, because sometimes that's just a coach's persona. They are just kind of like an aggressive, rude person. Some people are just like that. I don't know why they're like that. I don't know how people are like that, but sometimes they're just rude people. And sometimes it just comes off that way because they may be competitive. But if you find out if your coach, first things first, if the coach is singling out your child or if it is like a team as a whole, that will help you just to have that more information when you do go talk to someone higher up.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Because coaches can, like we said, they can be aggressive, and understanding what they're aggressive in. Are they just pushing you hard? Are they just really into their job and what they're trying to accomplish? Or do they really not have a good fundamental attitude in general? And that's really something that you had made a good point of, going to the parents, and asking if anyone else is having any issues as well.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone should hesitate, especially with coaches. Do not hesitate to take action or to reach out or to file a complaint with the organization or the school or whoever. Don't hesitate, even if your kid does end up like not continuing with that team, because that coach might just turn to someone else to start bullying. and then it's going to just be a snowball, and more kids are going to continue to get bullied by this coach. Just take action and understand the seriousness of it, because bullying shapes mindsets, especially in younger ages. And so bullying is serious. It's very serious. So don't hesitate. Find out the information that you need to find out, file a complaint, or talk to a director or someone that's higher up, maybe that will keep it anonymous, so it doesn't have to be directed towards your kid. It helped them out a little bit more as well.
Right. And so, we did a little bit of research as far as getting some tips and tools on what you can do to get more information if you feel like your child is getting bullied through sports. There's some information on this website as well about just general bullying. So check it out. It's verywellfamily.com. And we just got onto the blog about signs that your coach is being a bully, or signs that your kid's being bullied. So it's a good resource and lots of good information there.
And don't hesitate to go online and find there's stopbullying.gov, other hotlines that you can find. Bullying's a big deal, and it shouldn't happen. It doesn't need to happen. It's unnecessary, especially in sports, because everyone is there for the same reason. And so take action. Don't let it continue. If you stop it firsthand, then no one else has to go through it, and then everyone can heal together.
Yes. And you're creating stronger minds all over, once you address it and don't hide it. No one should ever hide it. So make sure to address it, help your kids to address it and to work through it. And your mental toughness will forever be stronger. Just be aware and just stay top of mind with your kids. Make sure that you listen to them. Don't talk over them. Don't try to solve it right away for them, but try to solve it with them and make them stronger by helping them to be strong on their own and to fix things first of all on their own. And then when they need extra, that you're there for them always.
Yeah, always be looking for the signs, listen to your kids, and empower them. Tell them that they can do it. They can stand up for themselves, ensure confidence. And if
They're worthy.
your kid, what was that?
They're worthy.
They're worthy. They are 1,000% worthy. If you instill confidence at an early age, it is going to stick. But if your kid is struggling with confidence, it's also going to stick. So help them understand that they can be confident in themselves. They can stick up for themselves, that they don't need to go through it. Well, thank you guys for joining us again. We hope that we can help you guys kind of look for some more signs and figure out how you can keep your kids confident and not deal with the bullying. We don't need any bullying anymore. It's 2023. Bullying should just be like out the door. So just keep growing and keep strengthening your minds. All of the links that we used today and that we talked about will be linked below. So go check those out if you want to dive a little bit deeper into it. And we would love to hear any kind of experiences you guys have had with bullying within sports, with coaches, how you handled it, and anything else. So thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next week.